For those who click to see the flamethrower effect, let me show you right away. What you need to use is an LED filament. You need to feed it into the position of the flamethrower, wire it to some AA batteries, and then string it between 2 points. If you can't string it between 2 points, you could use a straw, feed the LED filament through the straw, loop it back on itself, and then put it into place like I did on this Bowser here. Then you can light it up the same way. Now, use some cotton balls, glue it to the LED filament. Once that's done, nice and tight, go in with some paint, use a little bit of yellow and a little bit of black to make that smoky effect. Then you're gonna have an awesome flamethrower. But now, let's get to the painting. So you just bought the Warhammer 40k 10th edition Leviathan box set and you're wondering how to paint all those minis? Well, don't worry, I put this video together for you, and yeah, these are 3D printed proxies. Because we're going to take like a Space Marine proxy and we're going to take a Tyrranid proxy. Going to prepare the files in Voxel Dance Tango, which is an awesome slicer. Support them up, slice them. You can see here is going to be about $1 and 16 hours per mini. We're going to be using the Sonic Muddy 4K paired with some standard gray SUNLU Resin. And as you can see, the prints came out really nice. Now these Puppet War miniatures are multi-part kits and they're really fun to put together once you have them printed. I base coated these black and then using 2 dry brushing techniques, I highlighted them up first with a heavy coat of ash gray, followed by a lighter coat of matte white only on the high parts of the miniature. Once that was done, I used a mixture of Army Painter Speed Paint, Magic Blue, and a medium, and airbrush this on. Now, if you don't have an airbrush, don't worry, you can apply it. Just make sure you water it down just slightly so that it becomes a little more semi-transparent. But the nice thing with an airbrush is that you can use it to go over some areas on a second coat, basically, and make it darker, which is really good with these speed paints. I use a Gaahleiri Air Brush. If you're interested in the airbrush, I'll drop the link below. It's a great brush. Now, as you can see here, this is a really fast way to lay down an awesome base coat, highlight, and shadow for your miniatures. Once that was done, I went in again with the speed paints, used some Camo Cloak Green, picked out the hand grenade, a little bit of hardened leather, picked out the patch here. Now, if you want a little darker leather, you can always wash it with some sepia. Also, I used some Grim Black. This is a quick, fast way to do some black. Pretty much done all the gun parts here. I wanted to add some color to this flamethrower, so I went ahead and used some red speed paints, and I picked out the gas tank here. Once that was done, I moved to the backpack, used some plate mail silver, and just picked out some of these tubes and stuff here. A little bit of gold and a dry brush of silver on the barrel of the flamethrower. And also the trim around the shoulder pads, I've done that classic ultramarine gold as well. Now all the silver areas I went ahead and washed with some Nolan oil. I picked out the face with some matte white. I like to flood the area with the white because white is notoriously hard to paint, so very thin and sort of flood the area. Now the mask looks really cool. It's got like that Punisher ghost look. All the gold got washed in some Army Painter dark tone. This really helps weather the gold. And then I like to use a little technique here where I take a little piece of sponge and dab it all over the miniature to create battle damage and chips of paint. I gotta thank all the members of my Patreon. You guys are awesome. If anybody wants to support me or the channel, check out the Patreon. You can get to know me a little bit better over there, and it'd be really cool if you want to check that out. Now, this is the Marine, all done. Looking really good, looking real crisp and clean, and super fast and easy to do. Next up, you want to move on to the nids. You can see here, again, the print just came out perfect. These Puppet War miniatures are awesome. Again, a multi-part kit, super customizable. I went with a few claws and a few talons here. I started with a white base coat, then used some purple and medium mixed together again. I like to mix it down so it doesn't overpower the white too much and it kind of seeps into that recess a little bit better. That's what you're looking for here. Now I went in, you don't have to do this, but I went in and highlighted it up with some Army Painter matte white with a quick dry brush, very light coat. And this is just so that purple don't overpower the mini again. Once that was looking clean, I went in with some Vallejo Game Color, Heavy Violet, and I went with one thick heavy coat on the carapace. And I really like this Vallejo Heavy Violet. It's one of my favorite purple colors. Once that was done, some Citadel Contrast, Flesh Tearers Red, picked out all the talons and claws and hooves on this miniature. Once that was done, I went in with this old school Citadel wash and applied a really heavy coat all over the violet. Now, if you want to take this a step further, you can do some edge highlighting or maybe even a quick dry brush before you apply the wash. But I find with this particular wash, it's kind of thick and it just settles in and dries nicely. Once that was done, I picked out the teeth with some palette bone speed paint, and I believe I even touched it up with a little bit of white to make it pop and painted the eyes black. Just cold black. And you can see here, very simple but very effective. This is a really fast way to paint this miniature. If you guys were interested in these miniatures and why they're so big, you could check out this diorama build here. I'll link it on my channel right here, along with some other cool videos. Catch you on the next one.